Mike Yanek show. Chupa 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 best show on the planet. Chupa chupa Mike Yanek show. Chupa 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 best show on the planet. Chupa chupa pow wow 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 wow. And now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome your host for this podcast, Mr. Mike Yanek. Yeah, ooh, yeah, we love you, Mike. Goddamn. Bam, episode 19. Oh, hello, everybody. Welcome back. I hope that you're doing well, mate. I hope that you're having a great week. And welcome back to the podcast. I'm very excited to have you here, and so you can hear my nice, smooth voice in your ears. And today I have a interesting episode prepared for you because I'm gonna share a few stories, and I'm gonna tell you about the time. Do you know? You probably know who the Mormons. The thing is, I'm gonna talk about them a lot in this episode, and I don't know how to pronounce it properly. Mormons, the Mormon. Shit, god damn it, we're off to a horrible start already. But I'm gonna tell you about how they tried to recruit me to their religion 2 times, and and if you know me, if you gigged me, or if you've seen me in person, I'm like the like I'm the worst person to recruit and to have in your church or your temple or whatever, because I will take over eventually. You know what I mean? I will run the show. So I'm gonna share that with you, and if I have the time, because you know me, I talk a lot of shit and I talk way too much. So if I have the time, I'll tell you the story about how when I was a kid, well, yeah, when I was young, I made somebody pee themselves laughing 2 times. And then I'm gonna talk a little bit about my love hate, not my hate relationship with horror movies, but we'll see if I manage to have the time for those two next topics. But doesn't matter. Okay, let's get straight into it. Okay, so if you don't know, here's a bit of background about me and my relationship with religion and all that type of stuff. Now, the thing is, for me, I was born and raised in Bulgaria. Bulgaria is a predominantly Christian country, and our like brand. What's the name of it? What's it? It's not domination. What's the name of it? Like fucking, they have the different. I don't edit this podcast, so they have the different brands of like sects or whatever the fuck. I don't know what's the name of it. Our brand of Christianity is Orthodox, Eastern Orthodox or something like that. And I was baptized as a kid. I'll tell you a story. So when I think I was maybe. I don't know, 1 year old or something. I was like a proper baby and stuff, small. And my mom was telling me that they have to go and baptize me in the church and stuff. And you've probably seen videos, which is very scary for babies. They pretty much, you have, the bishop, the father or whatever. And, in Bulgaria, they always, because here, the Catholics, it's a bit different. They usually clean shaven and they just wear a suit with like a little, like a neck tag or whatever. I don't know what it's called, like a little, yeah, whatever the fuck the name is. And they usually, short hair and stuff, older guys, and that's it. But in Bulgaria, they have like these huge beards, and they have, especially when they do the ceremonies, they have like these, they look like fucking wizards from like an RPG game or something. You know what I mean? And they have like these huge gold chains with like big crosses. They look like rappers from the 90s. Oh shit, this podcast is gonna be so controversial, goddamn. And I'm gonna get cancelled now by all the religious people, but they do, it's not my fault. Look like Flavor Flav at a concert, you know what I mean? That fucking giant clock. Like a hype man for Jesus. Hey, I've been under quarantine for fucking ages now, man. Fucking 3 months over here or whatever. So don't get mad at me. And I'm just imagining, just like a bishop from our church. Just they usually call it George, Georgi, yeah, George, or like something like that, or like Pete, Peter, Peter or something like that. And they're just like, now let's jump to the stage. Father George just comes up with a fucking
Hey, the fucking and their outfits, they're so elaborate. You know what I mean? I mean, sometimes they're all dressed in black. It depends. They have like different levels. You know what I mean? Like it's a hierarchy over there, isn't it? Like everything. And you know, if you're like a lower level, like a monk or something, you just like a robe. But the more top guys, they all fucking man. Let me think. Like, it reminds me like a pro wrestler gear type of things, on WrestleMania when they have the big pay-per-views or the big wrestling events. They have the really elaborate outfits and stuff. It looks quite interesting, and they have like the big hats and stuff. So the guy that was doing my baptist ceremony was a guy like that, because I have pictures. Actually, I've seen a picture. Um, and they just give you the baby. You're completely naked, so you're like 1 year old, yeah, I think, or maybe even less. And you're naked in a church. These huge churches, and they're always cold because this is just how the churches are back home. I don't know what they're built from, but they're always cold. And you're butt naked in front of everybody, and like this man with huge beard, and you know what I mean, gold chains you've never seen before. He's holding you, and you're crying. Even if you're not crying, he dips you. You know what I mean? Like, this was back in the day. This was like 30 years ago. I don't know how they do it now, but he takes the baby and he does like these really crazy fast dips and stuff into some water, mate. Like, what the fuck is supposed to be holy water? You know what I mean? I know I'm pissing off so many people now that are getting baptized, but hey, it is what it is, mate. You know what I mean? Like, it's a weird ceremony. If you bring a Martian or somebody, from outer space, and you show them this, they're gonna question it. They're not gonna be like, oh yeah, that's completely legit. They'll be like, you know what I mean? So why are you, why this baby is naked? And why is this man with all this gold around his neck dipping this poor baby into the water? Is he trying to suffocate it or something? Oh my god. And what is this water? Oh, it's holy water. Come on, man. I mean, there's no such thing as holy water. Let's be fucking honest here. You know what I mean? It's fucking weird. But the thing is, it's ceremony, it's like tradition and all that stuff. And I do enjoy tradition, though. I mean, I'm not a fan of religion. Like, hold on. Like most comedians, to be honest with you, like all my comedian mates, unless you were born into some really strict religious rules in your families, you know what I mean? They're not letting you out. Otherwise, nobody's fucking religious, mate. You know what I mean? Especially young people nowadays. And I live in the UK. Young people, unless again your family is super strict, young people don't give a shit, mate. You know what I mean? And so that's why, like, if I ever catch flack about like this episode, it's not gonna be from young people. They don't give a fuck, mate. It's gonna be from old people. But I don't care. I mean, like, because the thing is, for me, like, I'm relatively open-minded, I think, and liberal. So for me, like, if I have the right, and if you have the right to practice your religion, I should have the right not to practice anything, but I should have the right to make fun of you because some of the stuff you do is silly, mate. Let's be fucking honest. What's up with all these weird cats and shit? You know what I mean? So like, because I cannot say, I really don't like when people say, "Oh yeah, I'm very, I'm open-minded and I'm liberal," but at the same time they say, "Oh, religion, we should ban all religions or we should be illegal." You know what I mean? Like, very extreme. Like, no, man. I mean, if people want to do it, they should be open to do it. But you know what I mean? Just don't bother me with it. You know what I mean? Don't make me, converse or whatever. And because I was thinking a lot, should I do this episode? But I think it's a weird, funny story that just happened to me, and stuff like that happen to me all the time. You know what I mean? And I'm a very person that I don't know, man. I just observe life and just comment on it. I don't have, like, there's many topics I don't have an opinion on. I'll just observe them. You know what I mean? As a comedian, that's what you kind of have to do, innit? So, you know what I mean? If you want to practice your stuff. I have nothing against it, as long as, well, I'll just pay taxes. You know what I mean? Like, really pisses me out that these churches and stuff don't pay the taxes. But that's it. Like, don't try to make me convert or anything. But I should have, like I said, the freedom to make fun of you, because come on. And so yeah, so when they dipped me into the water, my mom, she told me that I was crying like crazy. It's probably a very traumatic experience. Thank God that they do it when you're that young, because maybe if you're 3 or 4 you probably remember. And because he had a very long beard, she told me, the father or whatever, the bishop. And I pulled on the beard because I did, because the water, she told me the water was so cold, and I was screaming that, the first time, because they have to dip you, I think 5 or 6 times or something, and he sings, fucking songs or whatever. And when he dipped me the first time, I was like, bah! Just crying like crazy. And then he lifted me, and then he went, to dip me again. So I grabbed his beard and I pulled on it really hard because, he was pulling me down. And she told me that, he was really angry. He was like, I don't know if he cursed. It would be funny if he cursed me out. You little piece of shit. Can you imagine? That's like so fitting for my life, to be honest with you, stuff like that. Just from a baby. I have so many weird stories. That's why I started this podcast, by the way, because I have too many stories that, you know what I mean? Like, I just need to share them with somebody. And yeah, so this is my story. And then, so my family is very interesting because both of my parents are atheists, which is something which is super rare. Like, because, growing up in Eastern Europe, and everybody's, well, not as Romania, because Romania, they're very religious, but in Bulgaria we are religious, but a bit on paper. But we still, we go to church and part of the culture. I'm more like ethnically Orthodox Christian that I am a believer, but it's just part of the heritage. You know what I mean? Because throughout the Bulgarian history, that religion played a huge factor because we had so many wars, and it was fucking madness. Bulgarian history is crazy. So it played like a huge bonding factor between the people. So I know it's part of the country and stuff, and but both of my parents, they didn't give a fuck. And only my grandmother, she was like very religious and stuff, and she was taking me to church. But when I was to church, the thing is, because she always used to say to me, you need to be very respectful and very quiet, when you don't be a goofball. And I've always been such a silly, stupid kid, you know what I mean? Just always just talking like, I used to love cartoons, and I just love to imitate whatever I saw, like little voices and little faces and stuff, watching Looney Tunes. And every time I stepped into the church in the village when I used to go during the summer, or in the big city, I always just, stupid stuff was in my head, just jokes and just Bugs Bunny running around. And I felt so bad because I was like, oh, why I'm not able to be serious, I just want to make jokes. And she used to get very mad at me. And but I used to go. But anyway, you know what I mean? I'm not religious. And again, if you wanna practice, that's your business. That's not mine business. You know what I mean? So I have nothing against that. But just don't wear silly hats and outfits, because I'm gonna make just don't have stupid stuff in your religion. Okay? Some stuff are really silly though. I'm not joking. Like, how the fuck am I supposed to take it seriously? Like, like the Pope with those fucking gold chains and shit, like fucking ridiculous guy. Come on. You know what I mean? Um or the Pope. He has a Pope mobile. Pope mobile, dude. That's funny. And it's like a very, like, he's one of the most powerful people on the planet when it comes to resources and influence and all that stuff. And how the fuck he has like a fucking, what is it, like a Skoda, or like a, was it, I don't even know, what's the brand of the Pope mobile? Is it like Toyota or something? Like a really shitty car. And it's from the fucking, what is it, like the 1970s or something, that model of car. They haven't changed it, and it's such a weird looking car. Like, the Pope, he should be riding like a fucking Maserati or something. It would be funny though, because I think the Pope now is an Argentinian guy, but they used to have a Italian Pope, I think, a few years ago. It would be so funny though if it was like a proper, like a proper Italian, like a playboy, you know what I mean? The Pope has a nice tan, like a tan. He doesn't wear like those robes. He wears like a Armani shirts, you know what I mean? Goes to the beach, eats pasta, cooks pasta in his spare time and shit. Is that too offensive? I don't know. Rides around in a like a Ferrari or something. I don't know. I'm just talking shit. And stupid. The thing is, I don't do. I have a rule when I do comedy on stage. There's three topics I never talk about: religion, so it was a religion, race, and politics. Never talk about them. Because it just divides the room. You get into too much controversy. It's just not worth it. And to be honest with you, I'm not really interested in those topics. Like I don't care. But if I ever wrote stuff like that, definitely that is such a good, I think, concept. If the Pope, somebody probably wrote something about it. If the Pope was, you know what I mean, like an Italian Pope, just like riding around in a scooter and shit, that'll be funny. But yeah, I can't do that. And so pretty much that's it. And when people ask me, like, are you like an atheist or something? I say I'm not even an atheist, because like atheists, I think they at least think about it, about religion, and if God exists and if He doesn't, and you know what I mean. They kind of spend some time thinking about those stuff. And I say I'm not even that, because like atheists is like the belief that God doesn't exist. And for me, I don't like religion. I don't even think about it. You know what I mean? It hasn't, for the last few years, I haven't even, oh, did God, I don't care. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't, and I'm not one of those people who are like, oh, I want to study other religions and research what they believe and stuff. I don't care. Like, I used to when I was like a teenager and stuff, because I've always been very curious. And I used to read a lot and stuff and watch documentaries. I used to research back in the day, but now for the back when I was an atheist and I kind of thought about those stuff. But now, for the last 4 or 5 years, I generally don't give a fuck, mate. Honestly, like, even if they have new religions and shit, they invented them, I'll be like, yeah, good. I genuinely don't care, like, what anybody believes. And so I'm not even an atheist, just like a religious or something. And so all of that being said, so this is where I'm coming from. This is my background, and again, don't forget, I'm just a little man in show business. So I talk shit and I make a lot of jokes, but this is my job. But again, whatever you like to believe, it's your life, man. Do whatever the fuck you want. You know what I mean? So let's go back to the Mormons now. It was in 2015. Um, it was the first week of January, because I remember, because New Year has passed, and it was like here in the UK, especially in Liverpool, I think everywhere is like that. Like, January is very slow for anything, for businesses, restaurants, whatever it is. And there's not many people in the streets. Especially my neighborhood is very residential, so it's very quiet and very relaxed. That's why I like it here. I've been in this neighborhood for fucking ages now, and we have a lot of charity shops nearby. So I was just out and about during the day, but I remember it was very cold. Had my jacket and scarf and all that stuff, and I went to a charity shop nearby just to look for books. And I used to collect DVDs, just stand-up comedy. Just I have like around 65 DVDs, I think, like quite a big UK stand-up comedian DVD collections. Now they don't make DVDs anymore, because everything's on Netflix and streaming, and we have like few Channel 4 streaming services and all that stuff. So, but I used to back in the day. And anyway, hold on. Sorry. See? Whew. Talking shit about the Lord now, and he's he's striking me down with some vengeance. I'm gonna strike you down with some great fury and vengeance because you're talking shit about me. Goddamn. No, I'm just joking. And so I was coming back from the shop, and as I was just walking, I see these two girls. They're just walking, towards me, but I don't pay attention. And they're tall. They're probably like 6 feet, both of them. And I'm fucking tiny. I'm like 5'5", and I look like a 12-year-old, and I have like jokes like that in my set. But you know what I mean. So when I see somebody tall, a tall woman, I know that I don't exist in her. You know what I mean? I'm invisible for like women who are above 5'5" or 5'4". I don't exist for them, because I'm about 5'5", 5'6" with shoes, and I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? It is what it is. So or especially good looking women, I know that they do. You know what I mean? So Have you ever had that? Like, I used to be, when I was a teenager and stuff, I used to be very self-conscious. And when you walk, and when there's a girl, or like maybe two girls sitting on the park bench and you're walking by, or somebody's approaching, I used to feel like, oh my God, are they looking at me? What they're thinking? You know what I mean? Or they think I'm a loser, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. And I think a lot of teenage boys go through that type of stuff. But if you see a girl that is like ugly, or like an old woman, or like an older woman, and you know what I mean, and it kind of doesn't matter, does it? You know what I mean? Or when I was a teenager, I used to get bullied a lot and stuff, and bullying in Bulgaria was very serious. You know what I mean? Especially when I was younger, they used to beat the fuck out of you and steal your money, not like here, just fucking texting you like, oh, you look stupid today in school. You know what I mean? I wish we had Twitter and got bullied on Twitter. Bro, they used to beat the bejesus out of us, man. You know what I mean? And so bullying was very, very serious stuff. And when I was a kid, when you see a guy, like a big guy approaching you, I used to get very nervous because I'm thinking like he might beat me up and steal my money and stuff like that. But if you see a guy with his girlfriend or with a woman, then you're like, oh, okay, because he's not gonna beat the fuck out of you in front of his girlfriend or a girl that he's trying to impress. So you kind of feel safe, you know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, he's not gonna beat the fuck out of me. No, bro, growing up in the 90s and the early 2000s in Bulgaria was fucking brutal, mate. Honestly, like, it was crazy. Especially my neighborhood was very dodgy, and but now it's all good. It's all cleaned up and stuff. And this is way before we had the European Union, because European Union 2007 we joined, and before that, bro, it was a fucking jungle, mate. Honestly, like, Bulgaria was no regulations, no fucking nothing, mate. Honestly, I'm not even joking, dude. It was insane. But this is for another episode. And so I'm just walking and I see these two girls, and they're dressed, with like jackets and stuff, it's cold. And they were just like, excuse me. And I was thinking like, oh, okay, here we go. And they sounded, they didn't sound British. So I was like, oh, okay, probably tourists, probably. We have a lot of students, by the way. I think like 20% of the population of Liverpool is like students or something like that. It's a lot. And I was like, oh, probably students, probably new. They're gonna ask me how to go to town center, where's the shop, blah blah. I was like, yeah, how you doing, mate? You okay? And because I'm very friendly and stuff. And they was like, do you have a moment? And I was like, oh, sounds American, like I'm kind of good with the accents, you know what I mean? I can pick them up and stuff by country. And I was like, oh yeah, yeah, of course. Are you okay? It's like, yeah, we're doing very well. How are you? And I was like, you know what I mean? Because like, if you're gonna ask for directions, you don't go like, how is your day going? You just like, where is the fucking shop, mate? You know what I mean? Like, oh, you have some, where can I buy some fucking berries? Do you know what I mean? That's how the Scousers talk. I love the Scousers. Such great people. Great success. And I was like, yeah, I'm doing very well. How are you doing? And they were like, yeah, yeah, do you have a moment? And I was like, and I'm thinking, like, what the fuck's happening? You know what I mean? Like, obviously, they're not interested in me. You know what I mean? It's not like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, how you doing? You want to talk for, like, and they don't look like prostitutes as well, which, I had cases like that. It's so fucking weird, man. Because like in Bulgaria, you have a lot of prostitutes in certain areas, and it's so bizarre when you walk past them and they're just like, hey, sexy, and they just catcall you and stuff. It feels so good, by the way. I don't know why women complain that they're getting catcalled. Getting catcalled feels fucking amazing as a guy, honestly. And I was like, yeah, oh yeah, I'm gonna shake what my mama gave me. You know what I mean? That type of stuff. It's awesome. And oh, dude, I should do a story on stage. I have a story about prostitutes on stage. I should do that. Yeah. Damn, I was a teenager back then. Fuck, man. I should do that. Yeah. Oh, hold on. I'm getting distracted. I'm thinking about prostitutes getting all happy and shit. Man, this episode is really fun. I'm enjoying it way too much. How the fuck am I gonna talk about Jesus and then 5 minutes later about prostitutes and getting catcalled by them and shit like that? So I was like, okay, they're definitely not prostitutes. They don't want, sexual favors from your boy Mike Yanek, and they don't seem interested in me. So I was like, what the fuck? Are they selling something? You don't see that many door-to-door salespeople and just salespeople in general that anymore, isn't it? I mean, they have some people they're gonna stop you for donations, like fundraising and stuff, but that's different. But you don't get like salespeople. You know what I mean? I used to work a job when I first came to the UK and live. So I came to the UK. I lived in Scotland for 2 months, worked on the farm. Then I moved down south to England, and I worked in a farm for a month and a half there. Then I moved to Liverpool, and I lived here for I think 4 months, and I couldn't find a job. And then I found a job, and I moved to London, and I lived there for 2 years. And after those 2 years, I finished my job, and I came back to Liverpool, and I've been in Liverpool ever since. This is my story, about the UK, how my origin story about the UK. And but when I was in Liverpool the first time, um, we had working restrictions because of the European Union and all that stuff until 2014, and that was in 2013. And the only job I could find is a job where it's on commission based, which was horrible for me because like commission based jobs are shit. Let's be honest. Like especially if you're a foreigner, I have bills to pay and I have rent to pay and food and all that stuff. It's not like I have zero family in the UK, so there's nobody where I can just go and live with for free. This is none of that. And there was no other job because I couldn't apply for anything. I can only be self-employed. We were not allowed to be employed. And I'll go back to the religious stuff in a bit. Don't worry about. You know how this podcast is. It is. I'm all over the place, and we have time. I have like hour and a half today before I need to shoot off and do some work. And hold on, I lost my train of. Yeah. So yeah, you needed to be self-employed, which is really shit. Like the only way is you need to either start a business, but you need to have some money, or you can work 0 hour contract and all that stuff. And the only place I found was this thing where they commission based door to door salesman pretty much, but I kind of didn't know that. Anyway, I went there, I got the interview, I got the job, I was very excited. But then when I went the next day, and it was like insane hours, mate. We started at, I don't know, like 10 or 9, and we used to travel as well around Merseyside and around the northwest. And by the way, we had to pay for the travels. And we came back to the office like 9:30. So by the time I was home, it was 11. You know what I mean? So I pretty much spent 12 hours or something and not getting paid a single dime. And it's very exhausting work because you walk like crazy, and you have a target of, I don't know, 70 houses or whatever. It was insane, mate. And we used to do like these. The government just released a scheme back then where you can do these loft installations, and we just walk around and we knocked on doors and stuff, and just offer people to go and check their loft and to see if they qualify for the installation, and we sign them, and somehow we get money out of it. I don't fucking know. It was, dude. So the first day so we're traveling in groups and stuff, and the first 2 or 3 days I'm with some other guy who needs to teach me. And then slowly but surely, because pretty much you knock on the door, they open, and you have a pitch, and you need to pitch them. Bro, but my English was not as good. I mean, my English is not perfect, but back then, 2013, it was shit. You know what I mean? And I was nervous and all that stuff. And oh my, I'll never forget my first door. So we went to this house, and he was like, "Okay, so now you have to do the pitch." And I knocked on the door. He's next to me, and I'm sweating bullets, mate. And they just opened the door, and I pretty much freeze. I was like, "Hey, hello, how are you doing today? I loft, check the loft." And she was like, "What?" You know what I mean? Like the lady, she was really polite, and we went to this like really affluent neighborhood, a very middle class neighborhood, nice houses and stuff. She's like, "Excuse me." Sorry, what? And I'm just like, and I freeze, mate. And my mate, he jumped in. He's like, "Yeah," so he's like Scouts guy of Liverpool, and he was like, "Oh, sorry, mate," blah 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 blah. And he did it. But when I started doing it, I did like 4, 5, 6, 7, and I started to loosen up. And the next day, I was just by myself. We go as a group, but we all split. And after like half an hour, we meet and we go to the next neighborhood or whatever. And I was just doing it, and I was just fucking pew, 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 you know what I mean? I was really good. I mean, I didn't make any sales. That's why I quit, because it was like such a waste. But I was good at talking to people, and I kind of got very loose. So it just goes to show you, like, whatever you want to do, It's gonna be super frightening at the beginning, but then you just get the hang of it. Stand up is the same. Like you never master, you will never master comedy. It never happens. That's the great part of it. But you can learn how to be confident on stage, how to be relaxed, how to talk in front of people. Doesn't mean that every time is gonna go well, but so it just takes time. But man, the first time was so scary, and a few people let us in actually, which was kind of surprising to me. It's fucking bloody foreigner like me, but so they and I have a few stories actually. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you in a different episode. I had a few weird experiences as long as I can remember, because genuinely this was like 7 or 8 years ago. No, maybe 8 years ago. I think, yeah. So fucking my memory is not that good anymore. That's why I actually like the podcast, because these stories I cannot keep them forever. I genuinely start to forget a lot of things. So I just want to have it recorded. So I was like, okay, and now I can forget this story forever because I know it's recorded. So what I did is the girls, they started talking to me, and I was like, because I had no idea first what did they want, and I was like, oh, hold on, where are you girls from? Because your accents are very nice. And the one girl said, I'm from Utah, and I was like, oh, okay. And straight away thought of Mormons, because the only thing I know about Utah is they have because now we're starting to get some traction from America, by the way, which is like, thanks for listening, fellas, guys and girls or whatever. Goddamn America. I always make so much fun of America, but I honestly love it though. Like, I do love America, and one day I will definitely go and visit and do comedy. And you know what I mean? I want to be worldwide entertainer for the whole world. So eventually I'll have to go Hollywood and go to America. And the places that I wanna do stand up in New York City for maybe like 1 year, because jump from club to club. I wanna live in Boston for a bit, because Boston is like the mecca of stand up comedy, in a way that it's New York, but Boston is the most refined, the most like, I don't know, thick skinned, the best, the funniest, the quickest, the craziest comedians all come from Boston. You have like such a long heritage of stand up comedy. And also I was told that it's the most European like city in America. And to be honest with you, I love Europe. It's just like, I'm European, so it's like I'm very, very European. You know what I mean? Like those stereotypes that sometimes you get in America about Europeans. I'm kind of like that, and I would love to live in a place like that. And I love the architecture, because it reminds me of Britain, and Britain's my home now, so just reminds me of home and all that type of stuff. And definitely Los Angeles, because you have like the Comedy Store. Obviously, this is one of the things on my bucket list, to do a spot at the Comedy Store. Woohoo! One day, maybe after 10, 15, 20 years. Anyway, so she said Utah, and the first thing. So yeah, the only thing I know about that state is the mountains. I know you have like beautiful scenery, nature, the Utah Jazz. I grew up with basketball, so in the '90s they were huge. Karl Malone and John Stockton. They were very iconic team. I know about the Salt Lake City. Actually, Salt Lake City is the only place that I know in Utah. I don't know about any other. Is there anything else? Like, I'm sure that you have some cities, but they're not like massive and famous in Salt Lake, isn't it? Salt Lake City, by the way, looks beautiful. I was looking at some stuff, and I was just mesmerized how fucking beautiful and clean this place looks. There's like few places where if I have to live, but minus comedy and all that stuff, because like Salt Lake, you probably have some comedy clubs, but it's not a huge scene over there, isn't it? I mean, there's like few places, definitely Boston, that I want to live. I want to live in Salt Lake City, maybe Minneapolis, even though Minneapolis, I think it's too big. I don't like way too big cities. Um, One of the things with, like, I've spoken to some Americans, and they were like so perplexed when I said that. One of the places you never guess this, it's Billings, Montana, because like honestly, it looked so fucking peaceful, so fucking quiet, looked clean, looked super safe. I was looking at some, just googling and just watching like mini documentaries. It looked fucking like, it looks like the place where you want to raise a family. You know what I mean? It looks fucking amazing. And I know people's like, oh, Montana is so boring. There's fucking nothing there. Exactly, mate. Like, you know what I mean? Because if I go to the big cities, I'll go because of comedy and because I wanna, showbiz and entertainment. But if it's like me as a person, I can easily maybe like live 3 days in Billings, Montana, or whatever, and fly and do the other stuff in Los Angeles. You know what I mean? Like it looks perfect for me. I like small communities and just chilled out and all that stuff. I don't like big cities. And the other thing about Utah is obviously the Mormons, because this is the headquarters. You know what I mean? Ground zero for the Mormons is Utah. And but actually, in all fairness, though, I've heard good stuff about the state. I know that you have very low crime rates, and like it looks okay. I mean, like statistics are very good for the state. So I don't know, man. Maybe they're doing something right over there. I don't know what's happening. And what else? Yeah, that's about it. And then the other girl, she said I'm from Boston, and I remember I said to her, because Boston they have like this crazy accent, and I'm from Boston. I just yelled. I'm from Boston. Forget about it or something like that. And she just like, what? You know what I mean? She was like, she giggled a little bit, but I think it was just like politeness out of her. But she was like, what is happening? That's so crazy, bro. I was just like, I'm from Boston. Hey. And but they were all both of them were very, very what's the word? Very polite and very very civilized. You know what I mean? Like not like me, bro. I'm an animal, and very beautiful, by the way. Very like classically beautiful girls. They look like Scandinavian girls and stuff. Probably that type of heritage. I'm not sure, but tall, very good looking. And I feel weird because I was tiny, and I'm still tiny, but I'm just with my fucking, because it's in the neighborhood, so I'm dressed like shit. You know what I mean? I have a rule. If I'm going to work, I just dress like just whatever. Just man. If I'm in something to do in the neighborhood, I dress like whatever shit. But if I go to town or if I go to gigs, I try to dress up immaculately. You know what I mean? I try to be a sexy boy. I'm just looking like shit. I have like a mustache. I look like I don't know, bro. I look like I'm picking oranges or whatever on the field. I don't, I don't know, oranges. We don't strawberries. I look like shit. I look like trash. And I'm not saying that people with mustaches are trash. No, but if you have only a mustache, that's a bit suspicious. Okay, you know what I mean. And if you have a van, you might be a molester or something. God damn it! And if your name is like Richard or no, what is a good molestation name? Like, okay, now I need to get the fuck out of here now. It's getting too dark. Just like my mustache. Hey, poosh. Such an idiot. Anyway, I'm having too much fun. So they're just talking to me, bro. I'm literally like the my face isn't like the height, my height, because I'm short and they're so fucking tall. It's like my eyesight is in their tits. You know what I mean? That so I need to look up, like legit look up when they talk to me. I looked weird, mate, and they start talking to me, and I was like, "How's your day going?" And I'm thinking like, "What the fuck's happening?" It's like, you know what I mean? It's fucking 4 degrees outside, and I'm kind of cold. So is this going somewhere? Are we going to shag or what's happening? You want some money, or like you gonna rob me? Or what's happening? Am I getting pranked or punked or whatever? And they was like, do you have a minute? We want to talk to you about something or something like that. And I was like, yeah, okay. Now, the thing is, they were good looking women. And I was thinking that is a great way, by the way. If you want to sell something, if you want to get people to listen to you, just have pretty women, okay? Sorry, girls, but it is what it is. Like, if you're a good looking woman, you live, like, pretty much the whole world is an open door for you. You're accepted everywhere. People will listen to you. People will stop what they're doing. People will give you money. People will buy you drinks. You get jobs. Not because like you don't have the qualifications for a job, but it's a huge advantage. You know what I mean? It's massive. Like everybody loves good looking women, and those two girls were very pretty. And of course, even though I was cold, I stopped and listened because And they was like, "We want to talk to you about something. We want to talk to you. Have you ever heard? No, we want to talk to you about the official name is the Church of Jesus Christ and something else. You know what I'm saying? It's not like the Church of Mormons. I think it's the Book of Mormons. Like it's like their version of the Bible, and the people who practice it, it's yeah, they're called Mormons. You know what I mean? It's not the actual religion, but it's just referred to it that way. And yeah, see how much I fucking know about this shit. As long as I remember, I actually watched. Oh, okay, hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself now. And so I was like, yeah, okay, let's talk. And they was like, are you practicing any religion right now? And I was like, well, not really. I mean, like, I was baptized as a kid. And I actually think I told them the story that I just told you, like a much shorter version of, me pulling the beard of the priest or whatever. I think I did. I was like, oh, hold on, I have a funny story for you. And the thing is, they were so fucking polite, and they want recruits, and I think they teach them like, oh, listen to the people, and what I mean, just have a conversation with them. Don't try to cut them off. Then don't try to push anything down on them. So if they like make them comfortable, because I remember when we were doing that pitch from house to house, they were telling us the same stuff. You know what I mean? They just don't go strong straight out of the gate. I mean, tell them why you're here, boom, and then have the conversation, and then offer them this or that, and you know what I mean. Then try to get the contacts, or let them in the house, or let you in the house, or whatever. So I think they were taught the same way. So I told them, I think, the story, and they were just looking at me like, what is, you know what I mean? Like, what? They just looked at each other like, what the fuck? And then I was like, yeah, but, I'm not practicing and stuff. So, yeah, 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 why? Or something like that. And you're like, oh, okay. And they pull out a pamphlet, and I was like, have you ever heard? So we are from the Church of Jesus Christ, blah, 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 blah. Have you ever heard? And I interrupted them. I always do. By the way, if I ever have any guests on this podcast, it's gonna be a fucking train wreck because I interrupt so much. And whenever something comes to mind, like my brain works like way faster than my mouth. So I have like this line of thoughts non-stop, and I just interrupt people all the time. That's why I don't want to have any guests, but I will in the future have here and there. And I was like, oh yeah, 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 oh yeah, that's why you say Utah, yeah, you're Mormons, buddy. They're like, yeah, we're from the church. And I was like, oh, okay, so what is it about then? And they showed me the pamphlet, and they say, have you ever heard of the Church of Jesus Christ and the Mormon religion and faith? And I was like, well, not really, but I've saw an episode on. I saw an episode of South Park about it, and they just stopped in their tracks and they just said, "Oh." And if you haven't seen that episode, mate, after this podcast, go and see. Obviously, you know what South Park is. It's an Mate, it's phenomenal. It's an absolute institution by this point. It's amazing. I love it. And it's not always funny, but it's just such a good reflection and a commentary on what's happening on the world and in society. That's why I think they managed to sustain their relevance and just being interesting and funny, because it's not like, because Family Guy, I used to love it, honestly. It used to be one of my favorite shows, but it's gotten so bad. Like, bro, it's a train wreck. It's not like, it's not as good anymore. No, no, it's a train wreck. I tried to watch maybe 1 year ago. I tried to watch 6 or 7, 8 episodes from the latest season. Now they're on season, I don't know, 25, 26 or whatever. Like, yeah, a lot of seasons. And I don't know, I watched season 23 or whatever. Mate, it was excruciating. There were moments where legit they just extended the scene, nothing happening, or extended the joke just to fill out the time, because it's 22 minutes. And I was like, why is this 40 seconds? There was a joke where Peter kind of tripped over something. It's a running joke, and he's holding his knee and it's like, like, this thing was like 40 seconds of this shit. And I was like, why is this 40 seconds? Are you joking with me? They had an episode like few years before that. I got so pissed. The whole episode was them trapped in the house without television or something. And it was just like these scenes, a minute long scene, nothing's happening. They're just like, I don't, just quietness or whatever. It's just like, what are you doing? I get pissed off. Like, if you don't want to do the show, if you run out of ideas, cancel it or just end it. You know what I mean? I know it's an opportunity, it's an institution, money, and all that stuff. And listen, people, they're still gonna watch because the people just married to the thing. But I was like, it was so bad, mate. It's shit. It's like, and it fucking breaks my heart because this was one of the first shows that I really fell in love with when I saw like animations. Obviously, the first one was The Simpsons. It always is. And then I saw South Park. Then I saw Family Guy, and I was like, oh my god, this is so much edgier. The first 5 seasons of Family Guy are fucking phenomenal. Honestly, like amazing. And when I was in Scotland, we used to live, working on the farm. We used to live in these caravans, and we didn't have internet or anything like that. We didn't have computers and shit. I didn't have a smartphone and all that stuff. This was in 2011. But one of the guys that we became good friends, he had a laptop, and he had like the full collection of Family Guy on discs and stuff on his computer, and it was like such a treat for us because we were very good friends. So we just gather around all day because they were from the Czech Republic, and we all just spoke. Oh no, it was like one of Bulgarian guys as well, and we because it was all in English and stuff without voiceover or subtitles, and it was such a treat. Work all day, then have lunch. Just relax, and in the evening we all gather around and we watch 15 episodes. So this was like 2011. So by this point, hold on, let me see how many seasons. Let me have a look. Family Guy. I want to see how many seasons they have so far, but back then I think it was season 18 right now. Okay. Oh, I thought it was way more. I thought it was like 25. Okay, my bad. Yeah, because I think the show was off air for a few years. They canceled it a few times and shit. But by the time, 9 years ago, no, was it nine? Season 9, season 9. So he had, but you know what I mean, all the seasons. So that was like 200 episodes or whatever. So we had plenty to watch, and every day. It's so much fun. Like we watched like 4 or 5 episodes, and it was amazing. Especially because we were so, man, you get so hungry for entertainment because we didn't have anything. You know what I mean? No internet, no computers, no fucking anything, no music, and all of a sudden a guy pops out with a computer, with a laptop, and it was amazing. So I love this show, and it holds like such a big place in my heart, but it's shit, mate. Honestly, Seth MacFarlane, you're so talented, you're crazy talented, like voice, and you can sing, and you can draw, and you can create. But mate, please, mate, either stop the show or just come up with some better shit. It's so bad. But the thing, because they're so bad, now is because they're based on what they're gonna create. You know what I mean? Oh, we're just gonna write jokes because that's the show. It's just cutaways of jokes and a main storyline that begins at the episode, finishes at the episode. And I love that. 22 minutes, perfect. But the thing is, when you create stuff like that, eventually you run out of jokes, and when you need to do 22 minutes of jokes every week, that is insane. Like a stand-up comedian, it takes from 1 to 3 years to create a 1 hour special. That's like 55 minutes to 60 minutes of just jokes. You know what I mean? They have to do that in a month, which is insane. I know they have a bunch of writers, but still, you know what I mean? And with South Park, it's just commentary on the world, so you never run out of material. They talked about Trump getting elected. They talked about Amazon warehouses. They talked about China. They had a contract with the NBA. They will do an episode for the quarantine soon, I'm sure, because now I think they finished the season. They're gonna start a new one. You know what I mean? So whatever's happening in the world, they just make fun of it. So you never. It's like the news, isn't it? The news will never run out of stuff to talk about. That's the thing. And anyway, they have this episode. Great episode. I've watched it a few years ago. Now I did like a little, just to rewatch it and stuff. I just watched like a few minutes, like clips and stuff. I don't remember all of it, but they did this episode where it's about the Mormons, and it's about in South Park. They have a new neighbor. Was it Kyle or somebody? I'm not sure. They have new neighbors, and the family is Mormon, and pretty much the two kids meet in school or whatever. The kid name is Gary, and he was like, "Oh, where you from? Oh, we moved from Utah, blah, 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 blah." And he kind of, discovers that he's a Mormon. And he's like, "Mormon, what is that?" And the guy kind of tells the story, but, they kind of retell the creators in a very funny way. So pretty much, as long as I remember, it's something from, now if it'll be funny though, it'll be funny because obviously I'm gonna put the Mormons in in the title and all the tags and shit in South Park and all that stuff. It'll be funny if you have like a spike views from Utah, because on my here on the analytics I can see from which state actually saw the clip, and it'll be funny if I have like a spike of people from Utah and everybody just trashing me and stuff. I'll be like, "Are you bloody bastard?" But no, I'm actually gonna say, not like, I'm not gonna talk shit about the Mormons, because they're surprisingly friendly. I mean, look, I've never met one, and oh no, actually, hold on, I met the girls in it, but I just talked to them for like 20 minutes or whatever, and but I've never been to the church and stuff. But they looked like good people. That's what I'm gonna say, and they seem that they can take a joke, and so anyway, they have this guy called Joseph Smith who discovers, he was like 15, 16 or whatever. He discovers like these gold plates because he goes to the woods one day to dig or whatever, and he discovers them, and then he has a vision, and Jesus, God, whatever, or a Native American or something. I'm not sure, mate. It's fucking bizarre. Okay, like. At least the other religions, you know what I mean? They were invented like 5,000 years ago or whatever. But with this one, it's 100 years ago. You know what I mean? It's like 1912 or it's that type of stuff. No, hold on. Let's do some research now because I'm gonna talk about it. So I want to be as accurate as possible. What year? Okay, take a guess. Let's take a guess. What year was the Mormon? I'm saying, oh fuck, I saw it by accident. 1830. I was expecting 1920 or something. 1912. I said 1912. Yeah, 1830. Well, that's not that far. You know what I mean? Like other religions are fucking literally thousands of years, like 400 BC or whatever. So you have the guy Joseph Smith. How old was he? Let's have a look. Let's take a guess. I'm saying 19. How old? This is turning into the guessing game over here. How old was Joseph Smith? That's like a no, when he found the plate. Let's have a look. Joseph Smith. But that is like a weird name for a prophet. That's like the most American prophet ever, and I think he's the only American prophet, isn't it? Golden plates. Joseph Smith. Joseph Smith. Fucking hell. December 80. He was born on the 23rd of December? What? Oh man, 2 days late, 2 days earlier than Jesus. Can you imagine if he was born on 25th of December? That would be insane. 8005, 8044. Man, he died very young, Jesus, man. Oh, poor guy. Joseph Smith, look at him. Good looking man, goddamn. Religious leader, founder of Mormonism. 24, okay, well, I wasn't that far though, isn't it? When he was 24, Smith published the Book of Mormon. By the time of his death, 14 years later, 38, that's very young, he was attached tens of thousands of followers and founded a religion that continued to present with millions of global people. Blah, blah, blah. Let me see how many people. Okay, I'm getting to religious plates. Okay, they even said where he found them. So he finds this place. He was born in Illinois. That's funny, man. That's funny. It's funny because like he's a prophet in it, and just imagining a guy from Chicago. Hey, the fucking pizza pie over here. No, I'm not making fun of your prophet, Mormons. Okay, I'm just working on some bits over here. You know what I mean? That'd be funny though if he's like the most stereotypical New York guy. Like, like the Pope being the most Italian guy ever. It'd be funny. Joseph is just like the guy from Chicago. Hey, I support the Chicago Bulls over here. Forget about it. He sounds a bit like New Yorker, but gives a fuck. Okay, I don't want to get too deep now because I'm gonna get distracted with Google. So anyway, so Joseph, he finds the golden plates, and then Jesus appears out of nowhere. Now, I haven't done enough research to talk about this, so probably I'm getting this stuff wrong. I'm just putting it out there. So Jesus appears, but Jesus is a Native American, because at least in the cartoon, I don't know why. He said, "Well, you Native American?" He said, "Yeah," and he says, "Oh no, hold on." So Jesus appears and he's white, and he says, "But I'm Native American." And he said, "But how come you're Native American? Because you're white." And then Jesus says, this is in the cartoon, by the way, because the Native Europeans or the original Native Americans of America, which is not true though, is it? I mean, obviously it's not true. But I was like, what? And then he said that Jesus was born in America, somewhere in fucking Kansas or whatever. Which I sorry, I just can't do this with a straight face. This is way too bizarre, even for me, honestly. Like, can you imagine Jesus being born in Kansas? Hold on, where is no? Oh fuck! If I go to Google, it's just I'll go into a rabbit hole, and there's gonna be me googling shit. But that is the most American thing ever. I know that you Americans fucking love Jesus and Bibles and guns and all that shit. Obviously, not all of them, all of you. That's a stereotype. Maybe 50% of you, but that'd be hilarious though. Can you imagine if Jesus was legit born somewhere in Kansas, and then he starts to write the Book of Mormon, which is like different chapters and stuff. And I think it's like a version of the Bible. You know what I mean? It's not like from scratch, but they still believe in Jesus Christ and still believe in Christianity. And I was thinking about why I don't get why do you have all the different variations of Christianity? It's like, you know what I mean? It's you. I don't know, man. It's like you still believe in the same prophet and the same God, isn't it? Just how, like, why you, it's like a one big company with all these different departments, isn't it? But at the end of the day, you still work for the same guy, isn't it? And it's like you still create the same products or whatever. Just fucking go. Like, you have I think it's like 50 or 60 different dominations, whatever the fuck the word is. Why just have it all at once? I don't know. It's bizarre. And then in the cartoon, they say that Joseph Smith goes around the village to spread the word of Jesus, but they do. South Park is so silly. Honestly, the whole story that I just told you with the plates and Jesus coming in, he's spreading the word. They do that while he is singing a song, and the song is stuff like, um because Joseph, like, he was dum 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 dum, and then he was like, but this is a lie, 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 bullshit, bullshit, stuff like. You need to watch the episode. It's fucking ridiculous. And I was like, oh my god, you know what I mean? And obviously it's a satire show, and then in the episode the guy was explaining Gary, the little kid, that they have this thing once a week where they have family night, which is quite good to be honest with you. This is part of, like, encouraged in the religion to spend time together, and I think they don't watch television. They just, like, I don't know, talk, read books, and play board games and shit, which is like the most American thing ever. Like, because for me, this is an American religion, obviously, and this is the most American. We're gonna play board games. It's like a commercial from the 60s, isn't it? Like, all those happy families. We're gonna play Monopoly. It's a Saturday evening, and your kids are not grown enough to do drugs and disappoint you. And your wife just finished cooking 3 meals because she stays only in the kitchen all day. It's the 1960s. If your wife says shit, you smack her, and it's completely socially acceptable. Let's play the new game by Hasbro, Monopoly, win it all. That type of, like, black and white and shit. And everybody, the guys always wear a suit, and the woman's always wearing a dress with an apron on top of it. And the little kids, they all, like, their hair's perfect and all that type of stuff. Oh, daddy, what are we gonna play today? We little rascal, we Billy, Billy and Mandy, or whatever the fuck the names are. We're gonna play Monopoly. And I was thinking, oh, that's quite good. Don't have nothing about that. I like family time. I come from a big family, so that's good. And then pretty much they say they try to convince him to become Mormon, and as long as I remember, I don't know, they don't become part of the religion or something like that. You know what I mean? And the episode ends somehow. I haven't seen it in ages, honestly, but it's a really, really fun episode. And I just said that to her, like, I didn't obviously recreate the episode, but I just said that to her, and she was like, oh, you know what I mean? Because they've seen it, and she was like, and I was like, have you seen the episode? And she was like, yeah, we've seen it. And I was like, so what do you think about it? And like, well, yeah, I mean, it's a comedy show. They were very open-minded about it, which I did like, to be honest with you. I don't know if everybody's like that, but I'm talking about those 2 girls. They said, yeah, it's a satire show. We usually don't watch it, but we've seen some parts of that episode. And obviously it's exaggerated in that type of stuff. And I was like, hold on, I have a question. And they were like, yes. And the funny part is they had no idea who they just stopped. You know what I mean? Because they thought that I'm like a normal person, and that I'll be a bit nervous, a bit shy, because they're strangers. I just met them, like 2 minutes ago. But they had no idea that they just stopped a fucking lunatic who, like, I say ridiculous shit to strangers almost every night. You know what I mean? And I've always been like that. I've never cared. And, well, I can say always. Maybe when I turned 23, 24, because when I was a teenager, I was very self conscious and all that type of stuff. But that's kind of normal, isn't it? Anyway, so they had no idea who the fuck they talk with. So I said, hold on, I have a question. And they was like, yeah. And I was like, if I join, do I get 4 wives or 5 wives? Because the thing is, they have this polygamy or whatever the fuck it's called, where you can have multiple partners. And actually, there is a really nice documentary about. So there was this American. I don't follow politics that much, but there was this guy called Mitt Romney. He was running for president against Barack Obama in 2016, and I think he was the only Mormon who ever ran for president or got the who got the nomination. And I was listening on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he said that his family, they were have like this compound in Mexico, whatever. Like his father was born in Mexico because they wanted to have the multiple wives because it's illegal to have the polygamy and I was about to say in Bulgaria and in America. That's why they moved there. And but they had some issues with the cartels or something. It's complicated. So you know, I don't know if they still practice that type of stuff in America because it's illegal. Now it's illegal to marry a few people, but it's you can have girlfriends. You know what I mean? It's different. So I'm not sure. Maybe I'm sure that they found a loophole because if it's a part of the religion, which is a really sweet part, to be honest with you. I mean, let's be honest. But I think there's a downfall as well because like a comedian had this amazing joke about 4 wives or something, and he said, like I'm definitely butchering. I don't remember it, but it was something like, obviously you remember. When somebody says, "Oh, you get to have 4 wives," and you're like, "Oh my god, that's amazing." Yeah, just think about the next time you're arguing, like heated argument with your wife, and you're just like, "Oh my god, this is the worst experience in my life." Now multiply that by 4 and just be surrounded by, what I mean, fucking 4 dragons, throwing fucking fire at you. So yeah, and she was like, well, no, we don't really do that type of stuff. They were genuinely like, oh my god, what the fuck is happening here? You know what I mean? They were so shocked because they were so polite, and I think Americans, they have that thing where they're really really polite and stuff. They were like, who the fuck is this guy? And then I was like, ah, shit, god damn it. And I was like, okay, do I get like food or something? Do I get like, you give out money? What is the catch here? Like, okay, I'm listening. Try it because she gave me the pamphlet and was like, and she was like, we have a book as well. And she gave me the Book of Mormon. It was thick and it was like small font. And I was like, oh, come on, man, I'm lazy. I'm not reading all of that. And she kind of giggled, one of the girls. And, and I was like, so what's the catch? What can you offer me? And she was like, well, we can offer you, like peace and community, all that stuff. And I was like, mate, I don't I don't need that. You know what I mean? Just give me something. You know what I mean? Do you give out food or do you have like some special powers? I'm just talking shit at this point. I'm just ranting. And they were just like, oh my god. And then I was like, okay, so okay, hold on. Let's not talk about religion. And they were like, what? And I was like, so you're from Boston? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, how is it there? And I'm starting to ask personal questions now because I was like, I'm not fucking joining this shit. You know what I mean? Like, fuck this. I just can't be bothered. It's not because of that religion, because I cannot be bothered with any religion. It's too much work. The outfits are weird, and the payout is not good. There's no, like, you don't get anything. It's just restrictions. You cannot eat that. You cannot do that. You cannot fucking touch your dick. You cannot fuck a girl, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, shit, man, you can't do anything. And what's the payout? Nothing. At least, you know what? If you wanna attract people, they should be like, they'll give you money every month. You know what I'm saying? It's like a little benefit or whatever. If you do all these stuff, don't eat this, don't touch this, don't look at this, whatever the fuck, pray every day, whatever the fuck, you get like 1,000 quid. Do that, oh man, everybody will be. Bro, I'll sign up straight away. I'm not gonna go to work. I'm just gonna fucking praise Jesus all day. You know what I mean? But there's fucking, they don't give you anything. You know what I mean? Oh, salvation. I don't even know what the fuck that means. What the fuck salvation means? Or there'll be stuff like, oh, you're gonna go to heaven, you know what I mean? But you don't know if heaven exists, you know what I mean? Like nobody has ever proved it. So, but it would be funny though if legit heaven and hell existed, and the only criteria for you not to go to heaven to hell is if you haven't talked shit about hell and heaven, like made fun of it. And can you imagine you legit go down there, you go and they check your record to see where you go, heaven or hell, and you'll be like, oh, hold on, you that fella who's been talking shit about hell and how made up all these places for the last 27 years on your podcast, on stage, whatever, you wrote books about it or whatever. And I'll be like, well, a little bit, yeah, shit. Is it really that bad? And I'm like, oh yeah, you haven't seen it fucking anything, mate. There is this demon. His cock is fucking 12 meters, 7 feet. Enjoy your stay, little man. You know what I mean? So, man, that would be fucking horrible, though, isn't it? Can you imagine if hell legit existed? But what if heaven legit existed? And I was thinking, like, is it really heaven though? Because like, it's heaven is different for different people. You know what I mean? Like some people really love drugs. I've met people who legit say, "Look, I just love drugs. I love taking them. I love the trips. I love like how crazy I go. I love being paranoid." They just enjoy it. So and I don't like drugs. So do you get drugs? You know what I mean? Like because for some person is that's heaven. Other people like to eat, just recklessly. So like I like to eat healthy because it makes me feel good. You know what I mean? So I don't. For me, that's heaven. But also when you go there, is there consequences? You know what I mean? If I eat five 5 liters of ice cream every day, will I gain weight or will I have high sugar levels or whatever? Or I just go and there's no consequences, you know what I mean? Because if there's no consequences, then yeah, you can take drugs and whatever, you know what I mean? Just have the high and the stuff. Also, when you go, how do you go? When you go when you died, if I died at 97 and all just fucking barely there, am I in heaven at 97? Can't even enjoy a lap dance, you know what I mean? Just fucking standing there. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck, man? Um, or I go at my peak when I was 25 or whatever, all fucking jacked and ripped and ready to whatever. You know what I mean? And also, like, do we all get to share the prostitutes? How does it work where everybody gets their own prostitutes? And also, these prostitutes, where are they from? Do you just invent them or these like dead hookers in ditches and you just and you just resurrect them and you bring them back up to heaven? And I'm just enjoying a lap dance from a prostitute with one leg or whatever, and her name is Chantel with a fake implants. You know what I'm saying? And also, do women age in heaven? Because no woman wants to age. You know what I mean? And no man as well, but still. So, do you get to stay fucking 22 all the time, or I have too many questions, mate? You know what I mean? And somebody can get in contact with Jesus or the person who's running this stuff. And also hell, how do you like some people love warm temperature. They love it. They love like really warm temperatures. You know what I mean? For them that's not hell. I for me I like when it's cold. So and then when you go, some people are Satanists. They legit love the demons and they have tattoos and fucking all that shit. Mate, they're like your biggest fans. Legit, if you go down there and if you're like a Satanist, you're like, you're going to burn in hell, boy, because you've been so bad and so naughty. You've been talking so much shit and you caused so much damage and pain all the people around you. And then woof, you're down there in hell, and all of a sudden, like you have these little two fucking piglets or whatever, little demons come and they're like, are you ready to meet your, like your eternal master? And you're like, yeah, bring him out. And they open these huge gates, and boom, boom, boom. And it's Satan himself. Fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like 20 feet, 7 feet of cock with spikes all over it. With a fucking, I don't know, like a machete and fucking like a bottle of tequila, and and like a fedora, and you know what I mean, and like a little tank top, like a wife beater with gravy stains on it, and a bucket of chicken. Okay, and he has 4 arms, jacked, like ripped. You know what I mean? All he does all day is fuck virgins and do push-ups. You know what I'm saying? Hey, it's the demon, bro. It's Satan. Don't get mad at me. It's not. It's his fault. And oh my god. And you see, and he was like, "Are you the one who was talking shit and clicking the dislike button on YouTube cat videos?" And you'll be like, "Yeah, it's me." And he's gonna be like, "I am Satan. What do you have to say for yourself, peasant?" And you're going to be, "Oh my god, I'm your biggest fan." And he'll be like, "Hold on, what?" And you'll be like, "Mate, you have no idea. Hold on, I even have a tattoo of your face on my butt cheek." And like he's gonna be, "What did you say?" And I say, "Hold on, I'll show you my butt cheek." And you pull down your pants and you see the face of Satan, and you have all these pentagrams and all these fucking, I don't know, stars and horns and flames and spikes or whatever on your body, tattoos, and like, you know what I mean? And because you're a psycho, complete psycho, and for you, you're losing your shit, mate. You know what I'm saying? It's like when I saw, like, if I see Stone Cold Steve Austin in a wrestling ring cut a promo, I will lose my shit. You know what I mean? I'll fucking fanboy out. So if you see Satan and if you're into that type of shit, you know what I mean, and you're coming down with your baby pet goat or whatever ram, you just that's not, bro. You be like, "Oh my god, I fucking love you, like a kid in Disneyland." You know what I mean? And this is how hell is, and you love that shit because some people are legit psychos. You know what I mean? So for those people, it's gonna be like a fun time. So how the fuck you determine what hell is? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it custom made? Do you get, like, you step and they look at your profile and they see all the stuff that you don't like, and they customize a little room, a little a little section of hell, and you just go and it's just there. You know what I'm saying? You just stand there and stuff that you don't like. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. Fucking hell, get me in contact with these people. That's Satan and shit. So I'm starting to talk to these girls and I'm trying to flirt and stuff, which is fucking ridiculous, mate. I have no idea how to flirt. I'm such a fucking idiot. Anyway, and the girl, one of them, she says, "Are you interested to come to church with us?" And I was like, "But do you have a church here?" And she said, "Yeah, we have a church in Liverpool," which I had no idea, to be honest with you. And I was like, "What?" And by the way, when this quarantine is over, I actually want to go to maybe like a few churches, and because they have like they have the ceremonies, speeches, and I just want to hear, because I think it'll be good for material for the podcast and just interesting. You know what I mean? I love to experience different different cultures, societies, organizations, stuff that I've never been exposed to, because I just want to see how other people think and how other people conduct themselves in public and how they speak. It's interesting, and it gets my creative juices flowing. I love saying that, by the way. And I was like, "Oh, really? Where is it?" And she was like, "Somewhere in town, blah, 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 blah." And I was like, I don't know, to be honest with you. Like, what do you do there? And she said, "Oh, we pray." And I was like, "Oh, okay, you kind of lost me there." I didn't say that, but I was thinking it. And she was like, we read, we, introduce new people, we talk about Jesus, we read from the book, and we take turns reading." And I was like, "Man, that sounds fucking boring, honestly." Like, I'm not I'm not saying it to be mean, but it's just like, what is the appeal? Like, there's no appeal. Like, say whatever the fuck you want to say about, like that type of stuff, and, religion in general, but there is only one thing. I know it's a bit of a meme and joke. There's so many funny videos and cuts and all that stuff, but like when they do, and it's usually in the south of America. It's one of the things on my bucket list. I want to visit. So black people in America, they have this. What is the uh, uh, Baptist? I think, I'm not sure. Protest? No, not Protestants. I think so. They have a version of Christianity which is very popular in the South, I think, and like gospel music, and it's actually it's created so much like good music and art, which is, you know what I mean. It's kind of even scary, because modern, they like when you go to these stuff, they're a bit boring. Honestly, like Catholic, I've been to Catholic church. It's fucking boring as shit, mate. But if you go to one of those black churches, oh my god, mate, it's so much fun. Honestly, it's a meme. A lot of, especially people who are now religious. I know some people take it very seriously. I have a few friends, like they're British, but they're, I think they're that type of religion version, and they take it very seriously, But it just seems fun, you know what I mean? Everybody's singing, having a great time, and that's fun. I want to go to that. There's food and everybody's cooking or whatever, and it just seems like a fun communal place. I want to go to that, but I don't want to stay in a fucking huge empty cold church and read a book. You know, that's like the worst library ever. Talk about God. I don't want to do that. There's no appeal. So I said to her, I don't know. And she said, you know what? Do you want to exchange like maybe social media or something? We keep in touch, and next week we will invite you and stuff like that. And I was like, hmm. And I was like, fuck, they're cute. I don't give a shit. And I was like, yeah, okay. And we exchanged phone numbers. And I was like, okay. So I just left. And I spoke maybe half an hour to them. I'm not joking. I was just like, I have nothing to do at home. Fuck it. And I just talked shit and asked them about Boston and Utah and all that stuff. They always wanted to talk about religion. And I was thinking, like, I don't want to talk about religion, mate. You know what I mean? Like, fuck this boring shit. And so I texted the girl. I think she texted me the next day. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. How about we go? Do you guys want to go out for coffee and I can show you around Liverpool? Mate, I'm just trying to be a player and I'm not a player. I'm the worst. I have no idea how to flirt. And she was like, well, I don't know. We see, we mostly focus because we're very busy spreading the word of the Lord and shit like that. I like when people say stuff like that seriously because I take the piss when people talk like that. And she was like, because we're very focused on religion. If you want to come to the church, we'll be more than welcome, but we wouldn't be able to just go out and have drinks. It needs to be, around the religion. And that was pretty much it. And I didn't go, but I'll probably go one day just to see what's happening. I know there's a Filipino church. I definitely want to go to the Filipino church because Filipino people are fucking fun, mate. Honestly, like because I have a few friends and listen. So what? This is a story for another time. I'll talk about the Filipinos the next time. But when you have one of my best mates has a Filipino girlfriend, and when you have a Filipino in your life, all of a sudden there's 20 Filipinos in your life out of nowhere. They just appear, and they're so fucking fun, mate. Honestly, like we go to karaoke and with food and all that type of shit. They're really fun, and they have a church, and I actually have an open invitation to go and fucking go and. Oh my god, if they get me to speak, it will be. I'll say something stupid. It will be crazy, but I'll probably go to the Filipino church because they're just fun, lovable people. But yeah, I didn't go, and the other because it's two times. The other one is really short and boring, but I was going back from the gym 2 years later, and was it 2 or 3 years later, and I just finished the gym, and I'm near my house, and I see these two really tall guys in like white shirts, ties, very professional, and they was like, "Excuse me, do you have a second?" Same stuff, and I was like, "Oh, how you doing, mate?" And they was like, exactly the same pitch, and I was like, "Oh no, sorry, mate. Actually, some of your colleagues a few years ago they tried it, but nah, I'm not interested. Do you see? I've seen South Park, but actually, one of the guys was a bit stuck up. To be honest with you, I think he was he was from Norway or Finland, but the other guy was from Utah again, from the States. The American guy was just fun, honestly. Like he started laughing. He's like, "Oh my god, mate! Yeah, I've seen." He didn't say mate. He said friend or something, but yeah, I've seen that episode. It's funny though. I mean, like, and I was like, oh, and we just had a fun conversation, and I was like, oh, how did you, you know what I mean? Because I love to speak to people from like parts of the world I've never been, or just like something absolute some way of thinking or whatever it is, religion, lifestyle that I've never experienced, like surfers. I've never met a surfer, and I'll just love to talk to them because you know what I mean, that type of stuff. And he was like, "Oh mate, it's so funny." Yeah, yeah. I mean, some people, like the older people in our community, were a bit upset and angry, but the young people will love it. I mean, it is what it is, and they have the right to make fun of it, and they make fun of everybody. And he said, I love South Park, and I don't watch it all the time, but but the other guy, the Norwegian guy, guy, he was just like the salesman. He was just like trying to push it, like, yeah, yeah, but hold on, like, do you want to come to the church? You want to visit a website? And I was like, mate, what the fuck, man? I was thinking like, look, like this guy, we're vibing because he was just a fun guy. I want to talk to him and just get a bit of information, and I'll leave in 5 minutes. And you're just pushing me, like, obviously I don't want to join. So, mate, if two fucking hot girls didn't manage to convince me, why the fuck do you think you have a chance, Sven or whatever the whatever the fuck your name is, guy? You know what I mean? But by the way, the Americans now 6'8" or whatever. It's a massive guy. The other Norwegian guy 6'4". Like, dude, I was like where the elbow was. They were massive, and we just talked and tell me about Utah and Salt Lake City and how long you been here. He's like, I've been here for like, because they are on a mission pretty much. They just travel the world, missionaries. We've been here for I don't know, a few months. I love it. Yeah, it's so good. And we're just talking, you know what I mean? And was talking about America and do you travel a lot? And he was like, yeah, we have church. It's just a fun conversation like you have in a podcast. I'm just genuinely interested in like what he has to say, and the other guy just keep pushing me, pushing me, pushing me, and it's kind of turned me off, to be honest with you. And I was like, yeah, okay, guys, I need to go now because I legit needed to go. I don't want to waste nobody's time. They was like, do you want the pamphlet? I was like, yeah, I'll have the pamphlet, man. Don't worry about it. And I had the pamphlet. I've never read it. I think I throw it away. It's been years, mate. Honestly, like when I was cleaning, but and they gave me like a little book and stuff. But those guys, one of the guys was really friendly. The other guy, he was really pushy. But what I'm trying to say is, like in the future, when I set up my studio and I need to buy a second microphone and learn how to edit, I might have somebody like that on the podcast. Why not, man? Like a missionary or recruiter or stuff. I'll try to make it interesting, and I'll be respectful, but I'm still gonna be myself and stuff. It's just interesting to see other people's point of view, and they are, I don't know, they had different lifestyles and shit. That's fun. That's about it, man. Obviously, I don't have the time. It's fucking hour and a half now. This is the story of how I almost got recruited. Well, how they tried to recruit me 2 times. And that's about it, mate. And the next episode, I have a lot of stuff to talk about. Yeah, there's a lot of stories that I'm gonna talk about and a few shows that I've seen because now there's no fucking comedy. And usually, most of the stories and the things are things that have happened on the road, on doing gigs and all that stuff. Anyway, if you are new, because we're getting some new traction, I'm very excited, man. This podcast is slowly but surely growing. If you're a new listener, thank you so much for listening. And you can subscribe to me on all the. You can find the podcast on Spotify, Apple. That was it, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, or whatever. I post a bit on Facebook, and YouTube, Listen Notes, and Stitcher. And obviously, I post a lot on Instagram. Follow me at Mike Yanek, and you can follow me on my Facebook page at Mike Yanek Show. This is just like the little admin at the end. And yeah, make sure to follow me, subscribe me, and keep listening. And thanks so much, and enjoy the rest of your week, mate. And I will leave you now with the outro song, outro of the Mike Yanek Show.
Thank you so much for listening. This was the Mike Yanek Show. I had so much fun recording this episode. I hope you had a great time. Bye.